Okay. Sorry, Facebookians. For some reason, my version of XSplit does not let me go to Facebook Live this week. It keeps on saying, number 12, targeting genders is deprecated. I'm not targeting any genders. So I don't know how to actually stop that. I couldn't figure it out on Wednesday's DDO show either. So my guess is I just need to figure out how to update XSplit or update the Facebook Live plugin or something like that. So new Facebook for you today. Hello, everybody. Hopefully you can see me okay on Twitch and on YouTube. Hello and welcome to Court of the Rings here on twitch.tv/LotraStream and youtube.com/Lord of the Rings/live. I don't know who I am. I forgot what I look like. I forgot where I work. I forgot where I live. I'm back from Gen Con. And I am so tired, it's not even funny. Also with me and tired is Druid's Fire. How are you doing?
Just about as tired as you are.
Yeah. I am looking forward to the weekend, shall we say. I fully expect to see very little of it. I will be probably sleeping most of this weekend long. But nonetheless, it's Friday, and we are here to play some Lord of the Rings online. My son, it's been a couple of weeks now, I guess, because I didn't stream last Friday because of Gen Con, and I didn't stream I streamed from home the Friday prior, and that was with my son. So my son is now back in school and back at his mother's, which is sad, but thank you everyone for the kind words about my son. He loved people talking about him on Lotro Stream. He thought that was really cool. Also, thank you to everyone who showed up at our Gen Con party last Friday. I think it rocked. Not enough of you Lotro fans showed up. It was skewed a bit more on the DDO side. Maybe that's just because of Gen Con and all that sort of thing. But we got rid of all the swag, which was nice, because that means I didn't have to carry any of it home. And that was very cool. We had, almost a couple hundred people show up through the doors, front to back there. At one point prior to the raffle, I had physically counted about 100 folks there, but by that point, a whole bunch of people had already swung through and left, and more did so afterwards. So I'm guesstimating about 150 to 200 people showed up. And that was really, really nice. I think we had a good time. I don't think it could have gone, frankly, any better than it did. We even had the chance to play some Lotro music in the tavern there. So thank you, everyone who was able to show up for Gen Con. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you got some cool swag. Now, you did, Druid's Fire. If I recall, you won one of the raffles for a calendar, didn't you?
No, I did not.
You
I
didn't?
didn't win anything, no. However, I did dip into the swag table on behalf of my fellow streamers and got them some stuff they can give away.
Nice. I
That
do
is
try
my...
to... PCJ, I do try to read YouTube comments. It's a little bit harder to keep up with, but I do, yes. So, anyway. Okay, well, you did get something, didn't you?
Yeah, the only thing I took for myself was the One Ring, because back when Extra Life happened, and we were doing giveaways, I went into my stash of Lotro swag and accidentally miscounted how many of those I had because I had old collector's editions floating around.
Oh, nice.
So I honored the giveaway and sent my own personal One Ring off, and so now I have one back.
Cool. Let me actually just do a little bit of a promotion for the thing, what you did. And that is you had the opportunity to chat with Severlin at the player meetup, and you were able to record that, transcribe that, both audio and video, and get a bunch of info on there. And I think he
That's my
even
name.
mentioned a few things. He mentioned a little bit about the 64-bit client and a couple other pieces. It wasn't a lot of news, Lotro side. This Gen Con, we're kind of, getting ready to do Update 23 and all that sort of thing, so there's not a lot of new news, but there is a little bit in that article, and so you should take a look at it. The 64-bit client thing, along with, he said something about legendary items and a few other things there as well. So
I have a design doc for legendary items.
nice.
I'm working on it.
I'm going to drop into chat the URL for it. There you go. All right. Yeah, let me get to a couple of things here. The interview was nice. Yes, thank you. Good interview, by the way. Thank you. To Druid's Fire.
Yeah, I would have liked to have gotten a lot more crunchy and delve into a lot of those answers. But of course, so much time, so many other people, and to be professionally courteous to the other interviews, like Draculetta was there, and Axel was there, so we had to share.
Yeah, we had, by that point, I guess it was about 9:15, 9:20. We had the place until 10, and I had 3 interviews to do, so I kind of roughly gave each of you about 10 minutes, which seemed, pretty reasonable. And so we hit that, and even a little bit longer there on the Lotro side there, if I recall. So
it was 11 minutes.
Yeah. So.
And I transcribed it because this may not be readily apparent, but I have friends who play another video game, and that game puts out videos and recordings like crazy, but they never transcribe them. On the other hand, they have a rather large hearing impaired community, so I always feel very conscious of accessibility and want to make sure that everybody who plays the game can enjoy the interviews the same as everybody else.
Yep. All right, to Twitch chat, Telerian1003, would it be possible to add a keyboard option to the quest dialogues for accepting quest declining? I mean, a keyboard player using the mouse is always annoying. I haven't checked this on the Lord of the Rings Online side, but there is one on the DDO side. Do you know if there's a button to accept the first dialogue option? I think you can hotkey it in the UI settings.
I am unaware of this because I
know you can in DDO, but I haven't actually checked on the Lotro side. But since they share so much of the same kind of UI code there, I would think that would be possible already. If not, though, that does sound like something we should be doing. So, speaking of Update 23, any idea when we're going to see it on Bullroar? Yes. Perhaps as soon as next week. Stay tuned.
What?
Yeah, we're not actually... I don't want to commit 100% to that, but we tentatively have a plan to get it onto Bullroar, let's say, mid-ish next week. But there's also a bunch of things that could get in the way of that, up to and including our game client build system being down this weekend due to building maintenance and painting and what have you. You don't need to know all that stuff. It's all inside baseball. But nonetheless, assuming that everything works out, we get to work on Monday and we're able to do a build and all that sort of thing. We could be as soon as this next week for our first Update 23 preview on Bullroar. It's not going to be everything, but it's going to be some things. So that's the plan anyway. Are we considering adding a new class in the nearest future, JFD Kamara? I would never say never. I mean, I'm sure we will eventually. But I don't see that being something that we do short term here. I think we've got other things that we're working on instead. 64-bit client will help to update game graphics in future, question mark? Not so much game graphics. It really has more to do with processing of the game client.
Speaking of processing the game client, remember my one DHS Kinney, Jessie, who was having that problem with the game glitching out on her? Well, I sent her my old graphics card from my previous machine, and it seems to have fixed the problem.
Oh, nice, nice. All right, yeah, I think we're actually mostly caught up on things. So yeah, we got Bullroar coming. We have the Summer Festival is having its encore right now. So if you're not aware of that, you should be perhaps doing that. Last night on not this character but a different character I have that I'm doing kind of a static groupy thing with. We ended up getting our legendary items. We're about the same level here. Level 50, 51 instead of 53. I'm playing a Runekeeper, and got my legendary item. And so right away, rather than running the quest, we went into the Summerfest right away. And man, do you get legendary item XP for doing that. Within I guess 40 minutes, I was already level 11 on that thing, so that's doesn't seem like a terrible thing.
Oh,
Had enough to
only at
forge
lower
it.
levels.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where it takes
Yep.
more XP to get through every level.
Yeah, I assume it's on a
So
curve,
yeah,
right?
one
But still,
yeah.
you could, within less than 40 minutes, I had my legendary item, and I had already reforged it. So, you know.
We got an incoming raid from the UK with Fibro Jedi. Thank you for the raid.
Oh, awesome. We really need to get Fibro Jedi on our channel at some point.
Yes, Fibro Jedi, join the team.
Yep. All right. Why don't we actually not stand around and do the thing that what we are doing, which is Volume 1, Book 12? Volume 1, Book 12, right?
Yeah, let's get out of Karn Doom because it's a pain in the rear end to get back here unless your hunter blocks their campsite here.
Yep.
Unless you want to run through an entire pile of elites and whatnot to get here.
Nope. We are ready for our assault. Oh, can I big screen Lotro? Yes. Sorry.
That would be nice if you did.
Again, brain not working. So, yeah.
Sit tight here for a second while our inspiration buff kicks in
Yep.
and boosts our stuff.
Can I tell us what the idea of malleable shadow essences will continue to recycle old essences to craft new ones? If the idea of will we, I think the answer to that is yes, which is I haven't heard us changing our plans to allow you to make malleable essences. But I guess I'm not quite sure if you have a specific sort of thing you're talking about in mind there. Oh, I'm still in blue line. Last night, I actually cleared out my inventory. I got all my stuff ready, but I forgot to retrade. I was going to go back into red line. Maybe it's not the right way to go, but I'm tend to be having a little more fun on my minstrel in red line than blue line. Maybe it's because I play him like a bit of a frontline fighter, but still. Blood Leech. That would be really awful if that were in real life. I would really hate to be living in the world where there are bloated corpse crawlers and blood leeches. I mean, if any place has them, it's probably Australia. But, you know, still, I would prefer not to live in such a world. All right, it's not the XP that is bad, it's the scrolls and crystals, so I have heard. If the stream is breaking up and lagging for you, I would suggest there should be an option in the lower left of the screen, lower right of the screen, to change the resolution from auto to lesser. That might solve your problem. Could be you're getting a buffer overrun thing. But I have not heard systemically that the thing is lagging out. So if it is, let me know. Do I use a custom UI? I do not. I could. There's no reason not to. I'm kind of lazy about it. I'm often pulling kind of internal game clients, so I'd have to be constantly fiddling with it, and it's just more work than it's worth. What? No revisit of Thrag? Nice. Yeah. We did really well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I felt so bad about that. I sent everybody a gold.
But anyway, the Summer Festival Encore is going on through the 19th, it being shut off at 3 a.m. Eastern on Monday, August 20th. So, it's interesting. We had some feedback on the forums that perhaps we've been overdoing the encores, but yet when we do them, we also hear a lot of feedback from people as like, thank you, just due to X, Y, or Z, I couldn't make the event, and so please keep doing the encores. So what that means is that there's a little bit of a split in the community between people who would prefer us maybe to have fewer event type things like that, and those who really appreciate the current way we were doing it, which is to basically debut it on like a Wednesday, Thursday, go through the weekend, go through the week, go through the full weekend, and then shut it off the next Monday, depending on what the specific festival. And then a couple weeks to a month or so later, having an encore. I know I appreciated that summer festival last night after getting that, like I said, after getting that legendary item XP. I was like, okay, that worked. That was great. So. Red is DPS, blue is healing. Yeah, I'm aware of that. You can do a little bit of healing in red, you just can't heal others. Oh, Lairden, I have seen so much of you. Sandberg is saying it's one of the hottest, driest summers where he lives. It was hot as heck in Indianapolis for Gen Con. You have done brave deeds that few others have accomplished, and for that you deserve great honor. Lairden was badly injured and endured long torture, and he sleeps now, though fitful, and often his thoughts turn back to dark places. Terrible woes were taken upon him by his tormentors. I fear that, though his body may recover, his spirit may ever lay in anguish from their hellish tortures. Go to Barad Durgul. Wow. Okay. Yes, perhaps as soon as next week on Bullroar for our first of several Update 23 previews. I think it's going to be a little different this time around, in that I think we're going to have, typically we've been doing this thing where we kind of have a preview the next week, we have a second preview the next week, we have like a third preview, and then we release it. I think there's going to be a little bit of a gap between the first and second previews here, just kind of due to calendar and Labor Day and some other things kind of happening. So I think we're going to have this first preview and then go dark for maybe even a couple of weeks, and then come back with more stuff. So.
We're going to run through a bunch of bad guys to get where we need to go.
You called them bad guys. Maybe they're just misunderstood.
Well, then you need to have some strong words with Sauron and his minions.
So update is being pushed from late summer to early fall? No. No, it's still set for the summer. I can't remember when summer ends, but nope.
September.
Yeah. Right.
Oh, this will be fun.
Here, let me heal you up a bit.
You can't when you're in red line.
I'm not in red line.
Ah,
Oh, I am, however, in dissonance. Let me change over to resonance. There we go.
thank you. Looks like we get all the fun of actually killing all these mobs on the way. That'll be awesome.
Okay. Okay. Our summer ends last August. Every season is about 3 months long here. Nice. That's true, if for our fine folks in the southern hemisphere, everything is, you live in flip world. True, today is the 10th of August. Okay, let me see. I believe there will eventually be a quote real connection between Northern Mirkwood and the Shire, but it's not on the short term. We have some other things we're working on. But I do believe that that's something the team is aware of and will probably be doing something about eventually. So update 23 is the Gray Mountains landscape quest, no instances, etc. until later, I believe. I mean, it's a little more than just landscape quests when it's released, but you are correct that we will be doing some content post-release as well related to it, including the new raid. Why don't I speak more about raids and instances? When there was a previous community manager, he was always showing us new stuff for endgame players, and for like 8 months now, we're only getting festivals, and even on streams, the only thing people are talking about are festivals. It's not fair to the other side of the community to favor one side all the time. So, sure, I appreciate the feedback on that. I'm playing what I'm playing. It's true that I'm not a, quote, endgame player. But I hope to be eventually, and when that time comes, I'm sure I'll be running content relevant to said thing. But the only thing I guess I would disagree with is the thought that there's a right way to sort of broadcast. There's a lot of different opportunities out there. Not everyone's going to play the same. And clearly, if you watch a lot of Lotro streams, there are people across the skill and level spectrum. And so I guess I would disagree that you have to be endgame to be, quote, qualified to stream, which you hear sometimes. That said, I mean, you're right, that I'm not doing a lot of endgame rating on the stream. And that's just a reflection of where I am in the game. There is that, though, taking place on Lotro stream and elsewhere, so I would encourage you to consider the breadth of streaming available on Lotro stream, and perhaps find something that's maybe a little bit closer to what you in particular are looking to see. And there ain't nothing wrong with that.
The Mythgard people are gonna do a run through the Abyss of Mordath tonight on the CMU channel.
Okay.
The second half of they started it last night.
And I know I've seen Stina do plenty of raiding. I've seen Gussie do it. Stina, yeah.
Yes. If I have to be schooled on how to say her name too.
I could have sworn that I asked her for a pronouncer and she said Stina, N-A-Y, which is why I kind of trained myself to say it that way. But clearly she knows how to say her name more than I do, so I will attempt to change it. Not on a Friday after driving 2,000 miles from Jedcott, however. Ugh. That actually, Darnell mentioned something basically, well, why don't you stream? To the person who asked the question. Let me say this. I am actually I think I mentioned this on the DDO side this week, but not the Lotro side yet, which is that I actually have thought about that specific concern, and one of the things I'd like to do is have kind of a special, what is it that I can bring other than, say, some official Q&A and things like that, is I have this ability to run around as an admin sometimes and detach the camera and that kind of thing. So one of the things that I'd like to be able to do is actually sort of have, set aside an hour a week and just bop around the different worlds, find various groups doing various things, and actually kind of stealth and viz into their quest and actually detach the camera and show them sort of running through this higher end content from a perspective that you could not see otherwise. I think that would be really interesting. Now, I know there might be some, let's just say, kind of naming and shaming concerns or things like that. So how I was thinking about dealing with that would be that I would basically have all the names turned off. And I would do most of the kind of finding work and all that sort of thing behind some kind of screen or something like that. One way to do it would be to actually pre-record all that stuff and then put it together. But that kind of defeats the purpose of it being kind of live. So I think but that's something I'd like to do. I think it would be a really interesting show and a really fun show to do, is to basically, you wouldn't see the names, you wouldn't see the kins, you know, or to some extent maybe when I did do those things, I would explicitly ask permission to do so. But otherwise it would really just kind of be here's a snapshot of what's happening right now in Middle-earth and Lord of the Rings Online. I think that could be very, very cool. I don't have any time on that. I haven't actually really put together a plan of action per se on it, but it's something that I was thinking of over the past couple of weeks as to, well, what is it that I can bring to Lotro Stream? And what is it that SSG can bring to Lotro Stream in a way that supplements what we're already doing? So hopefully I think that might be sort of the way to do it.
Okay, so you got the marching orders as well, the watching stone orders?
I got the what?
The watching stone orders?
Yes, I need to bring him
Okay.
to Gwathrin.
Okay.
Gwathrin.
Good thing I set my campfire back there. Huh.
Also, Shlotato is saying in chat that they stream some endgame raids with their kin sometimes, not on Lotro Stream. Maybe, you know, the guy is being humble about his or her own abilities, but just putting it out there. So yeah, Shlotato, Shlotato. Maybe we want to give them a follow on Twitch as well. I would argue, Dalibor, that I do not, quote, just talk about festivals on Lotro Stream. I think that that's an exaggeration at best. How much game percentage is raids in endgame? I guess less than 5%, Darnolf. I don't really want to get into that percentage game. I feel that that's inappropriate and tends to cause more problems than it's worth. But you are correct that there are those who raid and those who don't. And those who don't tends to be a larger percentage of the player base. Oops. Yeah, David, I was kind of playing around with the idea with the names off and all that too, because I don't want to embarrass people, and I don't want to, you know, get into all sorts of the drama. I could see it causing a lot of drama, but I also see it as being perhaps a really cinematic and cool thing, like you were mentioning. And so the trick is to be able to pull it off in a way that I can not make it into a big process. You know, I can kind of do it on the fly, but also not embarrass anyone or things like that. So I'd have to be real careful about showing names and what all that is. One way I was thinking to do it as well is by not really announcing what server I'm on when I'm streaming, so that you'd kind of have to figure that out. Maybe you can make an educated guess, but if you don't really know the server, then even if you see someone who looks familiar, you don't really know that it's them or someone else or what have you. I think that might be the way to go about it. When are we planning to fix the champion dual wield skill delay? I believe that is set for update 23. No, nothing really to announce regarding Captain Redline. Really, the latest word is the one that you got, Druid's Fire from Sev on the live stream, which is we got plans.
Yeah, we didn't mention Captain at all, I'm sorry to say.
Yeah.
So little time, so many questions.
Well, that and you know, as we've been kind of saying throughout this class revamp process, it's not a kind of binary. We now turn our attention to the captain. Now we turn our attention to the X. It's a little more scattered, and by that I mean wide. We want to do targeted changes to a whole bunch of classes rather than kind of a one and done on a specific class. And as people on the stream here have very clearly pointed out, we've got a little thing called the Bjorning we're going to have to deal with. And that's going to take a while, so... So I don't know where Captain fits into the schedule, unfortunately. Other than we will get to it. Hadurb, I would prefer not to make any kind of promises. I would prefer, frankly, Hadurb in particular saying, can I promise that Freeps will be balanced in Update 23? No, I can't promise that. I can promise that we will be taking a look at that, specifically as it regards to the level cap increase from 115 to 120. I cannot promise that, but I can tell you that that is something we'll be looking at. Hopefully we hit it. But I think your input, particularly on Bull Roar, will be quite helpful in that regard.
This guy's grammar is pretty terrible. Bring her thine heads. No, it's the wrong pronoun.
Someone is, I think you got the name wrong, but someone's saying, is Chance Thomas coming back? We'd love to work with him at some point in the future. He's not doing the music for Update 23. That again is being done, I believe, by...
Darth Celtics?
Yeah, Darth Celtics. I'm sure we'll be working with Mr. Thomas again at some point in the future. Sure, I buff us just in time for the end of the fight. Uh-oh, I've already forgotten how to pronounce Narchiel?
Narquil.
Narquiel. Okay. Okay. Can I ask, have the gold spammers really being if they have been removed last Wednesday? I had to report at least 4 within 10 minutes. That's interesting, Beldernick. I can say that, as you've pointed out, we haven't completely solved this problem, but we have made huge progress on it. The amount of progress we've done on, say, the spam and scam stuff is significantly reduced. Significantly. It's a tiny percentage of what it was prior to this work. So keep reporting them. But man, we it definitely made a difference. I'm pretty sure Darth Celtics is indeed a Celtics fan. This is the Boston area, after all.
How could you tell?
Yeah.
I was want to say Celtics though because history.
Cyberg, are we going to do more marketing in Lotro, like selling a box version of the new expansion? No on the box versions. Frankly, the cost associated with physical manufacturing and that is... We live in a different world regarding PC gaming. And it just isn't going to happen. But yes, we are doing marketing, and we will actually be continuing to do marketing. We actually have some plans in that regard. So will Update 23 have keys that you also get through dailies? You used some insulting words there, but yeah, I do think that we'll be having that system in place for Update 23. This is from YouTube. When is the Grey Mountains update coming? It'll be later this summer. We are hoping to get it onto Bull Roar perhaps as soon as next week. Alright, I am going back on YouTube to check this stuff. Vico Re-Ecor, we are not planning to do a ground-up revamp of Lotro's graphics, but we are working to improve them over time as we can. We saw a little bit of landscape work earlier, and I think we're going to be continuing to see that kind of thing. Will Ashes still be viable for Gear Essence acquisition with the new area and level 120? I believe so. Yes, I do believe we'll be using Ashes of Enchantment in the new area. No specific updates on class reworks, Odin on YouTube, other than that's something we will be continuing to work on. And Sev did talk a little bit about that in the MMO Central interview. I'd suggest checking that out. I don't want to try to remember what he had to say right now. Will we have an update 23, a new crafting tier? I know the answer to this. I guess. Let's just say that I have seen the words Tier 12 as I've been putting together recent release notes.
Well, there goes my crafting storage.
Yep. But literally that's all I know about it because I've just been off at Gen Con and then spent the last week with my son, and now I've been trying to sleep, so I have no idea what that all means, but I have seen that in the release notes. Yep. Will there be any cross-promotion with the upcoming Amazon Lord of the Rings series? That remains to be seen. My understanding is that series is still a couple of years away, really, before we start being able to see it. So I have no idea. I think that if they were interested, I bet we'd be interested too. So it wouldn't entirely surprise me if something like that happened. But a lot of that's going to have to do with With corporate synergy. Yeah. I don't have an ETA on the next premium housing area. Sorry.
One of those questions I was going to ask Seth.
Can we just do the MMO Central interview every week instead of Court of the Rings? Yeah, people would love it if I basically forced Seven to a chair an hour a week for Q&A.
I would be happy to grill Seb every week.
Yeah, but that ain't going to happen. Guy's busy. He does things. No, Hadurb, Saragost, and the other Mordor instances in Raid, as far as I'm aware, I don't believe are going to be scaled up to 120. Although some of that might. But I don't think comprehensively it will. Stay tuned on that. Ryman, you get more out of Sev than Cord. Cord likes his secrets. Well, there's a couple of things there. One, Severlin is the executive producer, so he has the ability to make decisions on things. Whereas I tend to have to say what I know. The other thing is I tend to get, I don't mean this derogatorily, which isn't really a word, but you know what I mean, where I get a lot of fishing expeditions. People are saying, can we have this thing? Hey, here's a project I'd like, can we do this, that, the other thing? And the answer to, unfortunately, a lot of those kind of wish list items is, unless I specifically know that it's coming and assigned to, say, the next update or two, I typically have to say no to that. So but it could happen in the future. It hasn't been scheduled yet, right? So you tend to get a lot of kind of not at this time style answers to those questions when they're asked of me on the live stream. But yes, Sev does occasionally let slip things that are significant. It's one of the reasons I love having him do that kind of thing. Any recommendations for YouTube videos for learning the basics, Shotman64? Hey, if you're on YouTube and you feel like you've got some good basics to help people out, drop a link in the YouTube chat right now. But I can call out, I would check out one, which is Game Olio Dan. He does a lot of good streaming on YouTube, and I think you might get a lot out of that. I'm sure if you just did search for Lotro Basics, you'd get a lot of good information on that. I know can you think Druid's Fire are some really kind of big basic tips and advice folks on YouTube that we might be able to direct this person to? I'm trying to think off the top of my head, and my head ain't working so good. But I personally have watched plenty of Game Olio Dan stuff, and I like his stuff a lot. Andang, I know it hasn't been doing quite as much Lotro as he used to, but he still has tons of cool Lotro videos on his site. And I'm missing a million people, so I'm sorry about that. But
Fibro Jedi also has a lot of good guides.
Oh yeah,
well.
Fibro Jedi, absolutely. Yep.
Or if you really want some Lobby action, go watch any of your original VODs from 1.5 years ago, when Cord was just a wee little dwarf. There's a very loud video at the end of this quest, by the way.
That's unfortunate.
Oh yeah, Pine Leaf also has some good bits too.
Oh yeah, of course, Pine Leaf. Mm-hmm.
Elrond Half-Elven sent emissaries to Evendim to learn the fate of... The search led from Anuminas to Samoth'Bal in Angmar, where Laerdan was rescued and more was learned of the ring Narwi. Amarthiel's forces now march into the frozen...
PvMP needs new stuff, not only balance cord. Yeah, sure you're correct about that. I think balance would be first, though. I think probably most PvMPers might agree to that. Why, thank you, Elrond. Do I want to be exquisite or radiant? I'm going to say radiant. I am troubled, Windshield, not only for the fate of Narquiel, but for Laerdan as well. He has faced many hardships, but because of his boldness, the enemy has not been able to recover Narquiel, and for that he has drawn their wrath. But that does not excuse his words at the council, and his actions have troubled me. His anger is hot within him, and I will not seek to make another council as of yet. Return to me when his heart has cooled, for it is fitting that the one who gave him his freedom should be his emissary. I get the sense I'm going to be talking to Laerdan for a while. Yep. There we go. Nice. Erkadirk. So, Laerdan's quarters. That's Bilbo's room. If I recall, it's what, on the other side here? Lowest floor?
Yes. So there's something you could sneak a review on. What's Scenario working on?
I can't sneak that.
Dang! I tried, Chad. I tried.
It is of significance, shall we say. All right. Got about 5 minutes here. I suppose we can kind of make our way over to the next NPC probably, huh?
And it's going to take more than 5 minutes to get there because there's no swift travel for even a hunter to get there.
Well, then maybe we'll just kind of end our day here then in the fine, beautiful place here. Answer a few questions and call it a day.
Yeah, at least there's no chickens in here. At least not right now.
Sammy 2002. Cord, I think it's time to go to Moria. You are correct. It is time to go to Moria. I need my legendary item. I'm sure we'll be doing that in the coming weeks, but we did kind of want to wrap up this story arc here first. But yes, I too am very much interested in getting to Moria and getting my LI and getting started on that sort of thing. All right, let's see. If you got a question or two, let me know, because now would be a good time to answer it. Otherwise, I would just remind everyone that we do have the Summer Festival that's going through the 19th. This is the Summer Festival Encore. This will be your last chance this summer. Not until it will be the year 2019 before you get to run this again. So if you have not yet to run it, you may wish to. Or if you want to get that stuff done before then, that's something to keep in mind as well. Again, like I say, we're close to having our first Spore preview for Update 23, and more of that in the relatively near future. Just looking at our calendar. We have the Farmers Fair coming up here pretty soon as well. That's later this month. I believe that starts 10 a.m. Eastern on the 23rd, I think. Anyway, you can find the event schedule over on the forums there. And I did want to thank everyone again for hanging out at the meet and greet at Gen Con. I had a great time. I got to meet a whole bunch of Lotro players and really enjoyed it. It was cool. We gave away a few signed boxes and some neat calendars. Lots of cool White Tree t-shirts and some other goodies as well. So I filled my car full of swag and gave away all of it, and that was awesome. So hopefully folks can enjoy that as well. Can I talk about Minas Morgul? Speaking of 2019, not outside of what Sev said in the interview just here with Druid's Fire, it's on our agenda. And now I can experience the pain that is the LI system at times. Yeah, that's true. Actually, it'll be very helpful for me to get a better understanding of the LI system. I have a basic understanding, but it'll be better to feel those pain points, for sure. As in, is Minas Morgul Update 24? I definitely do not want to commit to that. I don't know. I'm going to say probably not, but maybe I'm wrong there. Is it true there's a big battle among SSG staff on who gets time off during other games' expansion launches? No, not really. A lot of the team, just similar to any other workplace, takes a lot of time off in the summer. People have family vacations and what. For game releases, a lot of us are game devs and into things, so they'll make it work. How do we upload screenshots for the screenshots section of the Lotro Beacon? Send it to lotro@standingstonegames.com. Lotro@standingstonegames.com. And all of you will be able to take a look at it from there. If you want to give a quick shout out, so yo, this screenshot's me and you can use this name, that'll help her out quite a bit. All right. Will there ever be Neeker Breaker pets? I'm sorry, Melissa. I know you want them really badly. If I get the opportunity, if ever there is, I make this promise to you. If I ever hear, I wonder if we should do Neeker Breaker pets among the DDO or the Lotro team, especially the art team, I'll be like, yes, do them, and I will push on your behalf very hard to get Neeker Breaker pets. But I make no promises that we'll have them. I'm
Phrasing, Jerry, Jesus.
What was that?
Nothing.
No, what?
Nothing. I'll tell you later.
Okay.
It'll have to be in text because guess who's taking over after you hang up?
Oh yeah, that's
Corey.
right.
Yeah, Corey is off on vacation.
Oh, okay. So you'll be doing the show that follows mine, whose name I can't remember because it's the Friday and I've been driving for like 3,000 miles and I'm tired.
Oh, you poor child.
I know, right? It's
Jerry, I'm older than you. Get off my lawn.
yeah, no doubt. Yep.
So I do have a very long drive to Atlanta and back coming up.
Mythgard in Middle Earth. Thank you. Jesus.
Yep.
Man, my brain is not working. Anyway, thank you so much for watching Court of the Rings. I will be back. I will be more awake next Friday. We'll probably
I'll get you some pizza.
Yeah, we'll probably be doing some questing here. Maybe finish out this story arc and certainly on our way into Moria here as well. Have a great weekend. Hope you're having fun playing Lotro, and I will see you next week. Have fun, everyone.